Let's begin this transmission with the title that we have chosen, called The Future of the Past. Let us begin by allowing us to read you a newspaper headline. JFK assassinated today in Boston, Massachusetts. This date, November 9th, 1968. What does this mean? This is a parallel reality, different from the one you now consider to be your history. And of course, there are many other versions of this scenario. We once shared with you that another version of your history that you experienced before the present one allowed this particular individual, your President Kennedy, to survive until your 1980s. But the one that we have mentioned today, November 9th, 1968, has a particular meaning to the history that you believe you remember. The idea is that history is not linear. It is holographic and is made of many different kinds of intrusions of parallel realities. At the very least, if not the events themselves, the effects of other events in other realities color what you consider to be your linear history. So to continue this example, the idea to remember is that what you think of history is always changing, always. When you as a collective group decide to shift to a particular parallel reality path, remember that as you become a new society, as you become new people, you also create a new history to go along with that, to make sense out of the choice that you made in the present. Because the past is created from the present, not the other way around. So you have had many histories that you are now unaware of, because every time you change, you wipe the slate and create a new history that appears to be the only history you've ever had. So several years ago, you actually had a different history than what you remember now. But you don't know that. But because we can see the bigger picture and all the lines of intersecting energies between different parallel realities, we can see the path that you've taken. In this particular case, let's say the original, one of the original history choices you made was that your President Kennedy was in fact assassinated in 1968. The reason for this is because near the end of his second term, he was about to reveal the existence of extraterrestrials. The idea is that it actually was revealed. And in that particular parallel history caused so much chaos and so much collapse in your society that he was labeled as the cause of it. And someone assassinated him for that reason. Now, because of the societal collapse in that particular history that went along with the revelation of our existence, you decided to shift as a society and take another path. And to prevent it from happening, you chose a history where he died in 1963. And therefore never had a chance to reveal what he had planned to reveal. However, to illustrate the point that your history isn't linear, that it is affected by ripples from other parallel realities all the time, because the original assassination occurred in 1968 based on the idea of the collapse of society, it created a very strong eddy, a very strong current in the fabric of space-time. So even when you shifted your collective consciousness to the idea of a history in which he died in 1963, effects from the original 1968 still existed and still impacted the new history, which is why Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King were assassinated in 1968. So if you begin to understand how this actually works, you can see that what you consider to be a linear history back in time is actually composed of many different parallel reality ripples and effects that all come together and change every single time that you change your idea of what your present is. That then changes what your idea of your history ought to be in order for that history to have brought you to the new present that you're at, because you still have to do it in a linear way to play the physical reality game. But in understanding this holographic nature of history, you can never really look at the idea of history in a linear way again. You will understand that it is a composite of many different overlapping realities, and it is constantly dynamically changing every time you make any change whatsoever. Not just the societal level, but your own personal histories as well, because as you become a new person, every time you redefine yourself, you create a new history for yourself. Now, if it seems to be the same, again, this is because you have wiped the memory of the old history, and the new history must appear to be the only history that's ever been there in order for it to make sense for the person you've defined yourself to be in present. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't sometimes choose to recreate similar events over and over and over again every time you define yourself and create a similar history to some degree. This does happen because most of you have an agreement not to necessarily go too far in breaking the continuity of your mass consensus reality about what your history ought to be based on who you consider yourselves to be or define yourselves to be in the present. Nevertheless, this points out that you always, every single moment, have a choice to change your past as you change your present. And to understand that the more you wrap your mind around this, the more you allow yourself to understand how this works and how it's structured more holographically, you have more opportunity to, within relevant parameters for your life, break that continuity more and more and more. And the breaking of that continuity will create more, shall we say, fluidity and flexibility within how you experience space and time, which means you will experience an increase in synchronicity, which is physical reality's linear space-time way of showing you that all things existed once, that they're all interconnected. You will increase your experiences of things like déjà vu, which is experiencing the idea of the forward arrow of time and the backward arrow of time simultaneously, because you have the feeling in déjà vu that you know what's about to happen because it feels like it's already happened before. So you're getting both arrows of time simultaneously by expanding your consciousness to incorporate that idea. You will increase many other kinds of experiences in physical reality. But what it will mostly allow you to do when you really understand this concept is truly be more lucid in the physical reality dream and truly be more conscious about the kinds of choices you are making, the kinds of ways in which you define yourself and what's true for you, and exactly what that does to the entire linear space-time reality when you do that. And it will give you more understanding of how you are creating your reality experience, because physical reality is just a projection. It's just a dream. And it's all about becoming more and more lucid in the physical dream and waking up in that lucidity. And then knowing more and more, and again, whatever way is relevant for you, that you can bend the idea of space and time because you're actually doing it all the time anyway. It's just that you're becoming more conscious of the mechanism that you're using. That's what's going on in this transformational age. You're becoming more conscious of what you're already doing. It's no longer being seen in an illusionary way as if it were real. You're beginning to break through the veil and see it for the illusion that it is. Now, this won't completely go away while you still choose to be physical, but it will give you a lot more flexibility in how you experience your physical reality. It will still always be relevant. Whatever comes up will always be relevant for the life path you chose, for the theme you chose to explore. It won't go beyond that relevance. But there are different degrees of relevance for many different people on your planet. So many of you will start to experience more magical experiences in physical reality. You will see that it is more flexible, more synchronous, and always has been. It's just, again, that you're becoming more and more aware of it. So the idea is that in the future, your history will really start to more consciously match what you define yourself to be in the present. So the future of history, the future of the past, is very open, very flexible, and you're beginning to understand that the past is just as indeterminate as the future is. That the probabilities of what might become your future also are the probabilities of what might become your past. Because these are both projections from the only place you actually exist, the present. That's all there is. There is only here, there is only now. So everything that is happening, everything that you think will happen, everything you think has happened, is just another projection, another reflection, another perspective of the now. And that's why when you change the now, everything else has to change, both the future and the past, because they're just reflections of what you're defining yourself to be now, and are as ephemeral as a reflection in a mirror. They do not have real solidity. You play the game that they do, and that's fine. But now is the time to allow yourself some leeway, some permission to break that continuity to the degree that truly serves you to experience yourself as the creator of your reality experience. Because remember, as we have said before, your natural state is one of spirit. You're all still in spirit right now. It's just that you're dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. You have never left spirit. You can't leave spirit, but you can dream that you can. And that's what this is. And we're sharing that dream together by agreeing to do so. And remember that you are redefining yourself billions of times per second. Your consciousness is slipping through billions of parallel reality frames per second. So at any given moment, you are always back to zero. You always have a clean slate. You always have the ability to redefine yourself in whatever way is truly relevant for the theme you chose to explore. And there's a lot of leeway in that. None of you are stuck in any way, shape, or form, especially not in this day and age. This is all about understanding consciousness, that you are an expression of consciousness, and that time and space are your illusions to play with, are your projections, are your tools to discover yourself from a new perspective, a new point of view. Because if you don't forget who you are, you can't remember who you are from another point of view. That's why you have this physical dream. To discover a new idea of yourself, a new perspective of yourself, a new relationship to all that is of yourself as an aspect of all that is. Does this make some sense to you? All right. So, we share that idea with you, that history is always changing, never static, exactly to the same degree that you believe your future probabilities change. But you, here, squarely in the middle, in the now, in the present, the fundamental you never changes. The structure of your consciousness never changes. The expression of it does, the form of it does, but the basic fundamental you will always be you. It will always be your perspective from which you are having any experience of a future or a past. It will always be from your perspective that you will have any experience of physical or non-physical reality. It will always be you from your perspective that will have any experiences of other dimensions, other realms, other parallel realities, anything you can imagine, it will always be you having the experience, because you are the constant. You are the structure that never changes. But your relationship to yourself, your perspective of yourself, always changes. Your experience of yourself always changes. And you get to decide in what direction it will change. The more lucid you become in this physical dream, the more you surrender to your true self, the more you will realize that surrender is actually control, because you are already in control. You've just forgotten that you are. So remind yourself and play with this idea of holographic history and see the bigger picture so that you can understand the relationship of how parallel realities work together to create not only the probable future, but the probable past, and how this informs you so that you can make more aligned, more harmonious decisions about who and what you choose to be in the present. Does this make sense? All right. Well, we thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you this day of your time. And in return for the gift of sharing that you are giving us, I ask now, in what way may we be of service to you? You may begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish.
And it'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. Thank you once again for the co-creation of this interaction with each and every one of you and all of you together. For to us, it is a gift to be allowed to experience in you that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. We would like to begin this transmission with the idea of the hour of power meditation. Not that we will do that meditation right now, but we will describe to you how you can do it in your own space, in your own time. This is specifically designed as a permission slip that connects, for the most part, to the collective consciousness, so it can be a powerful permission slip for most of you. Each and every one of you, however, may, through your own communication with your higher mind and your own imagination, alter it slightly in ways that might fit you best, and that is perfectly fine if you do that. But we will go through the general idea for you to keep with you, for you to use, so that you can create a state of being of inner peace through the rapids of the upcoming changes and the shaking and the breaking and the revealing of secrets and things that were hidden, and the beginning of the dismantling of one system and the introduction of another in your society. For your 2019, as you sometimes put it, will be a little bit of a bumpy ride. And in then using permission slips like this to establish a sense of inner peace and allow you to feel more strongly connected to your indestructible core of your nature, of your being. You can create that bubble reality that will allow you to glide smoothly through all the changes that may occur around you and even within you. And so let us begin to describe this particular permission slip tool. Nania, will you assist us, please?
Okay, we're ready.
All right, please read the introduction on the page. All of you may follow along silently if you wish.
Each statement invokes a different state of being. Focus on each statement for 5 minutes, then shift to the next statement. You can repeat each statement for the entire 5 minutes, only once or any number in between. You can say them out loud or to yourself inwardly if you wish. Your eyes can be open, looking at a clock, or closed. It's up to you. It's your permission slip. Let your imagination guide you.
Yes. Allow yourselves the opportunity to create this in your own way, in the way that works best for each and every one of you. And while each and every statement invokes a particular and very specific frequency and state of being, all of them together will combine to create a master frequency, that bubble reality in your energy field that will allow you to develop, the more you do it, this sense, this innate sense of inner peace, and allow it to become not your second nature, but your first nature, knowing yourself more clearly. Please read the first statement.
For the first 5 minutes, simply prepare yourself to begin. Become calm, quiet, and relaxed. Let go of the day's concerns. Breathe easily and deeply.
Spend that 5 minutes in preparation. You may be lying down, you may be sitting, you may be standing, again, whatever works for you. But it is simply a moment to let go of the concerns of the day and to truly devote your focus to the idea of these frequencies. For this is a communication, not just from your physical mind, but from your higher mind as well. So another thing that will be happening during this permission slip meditation, as you read these things and as you say them to yourself, will be that you will be strengthening the conduit, the connection of communication from your higher mind to your physical mind as well, and training your physical mind to be a better receiver from the higher mind and all the information that the higher mind sends you to guide you into the true being that you are. So after you have given yourself an opportunity for that first 5 minutes to prepare, to relax, to let go, read the next statement.
Repeat. I am who I am for a reason.
You are unique. If you exist, then all that is needs you to exist, for without you, it would not be all that is. So allow the first statement to be an honoring of your existence, your uniqueness. You are who you are for a reason. Your mission, your purpose in life, no matter how you may choose to express the mission, no matter how you may choose to express the purpose, is fundamentally to be yourself, your unique self as fully as you can, which is why it is so important to act on your passion, since that energy is representative and your physical translation of your core frequency, your true self. So this first 5 minutes of the meditation, and you may simply repeat the phrase if you wish, silently or out loud. It's again up to you, but it is for the purpose of honoring your existence and the fact that you are worthy of that existence, the fact that you belong in existence, or you wouldn't exist, because creation doesn't make mistakes. The second statement.
Repeat. No insistence, no resistance.
Insistence in your life on a particular thing that must happen or something will go wrong is actually a form of resisting what could be there much better than you even imagined. So allow the resistance in your life to melt away. Allow synchronicity to bring you what you truly need, and relax the idea of the negative ego's insistence on what it wants, so that you can truly receive what you actually need that will benefit you best in your life. No insistence, then there will be no resistance. Let yourself flow, because every one of you has your own current in the river of creation. The current already knows where you need to go. Let yourself go with the flow. Resistance will have you swimming upstream against the current, and it will create difficulty and struggle and pain in your life. So relax, go with the flow. You will wind up exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be there. Perfect timing. The next statement.
Repeat. I am an indestructible being at my core.
I am an indestructible being at my core. The fact that you exist cannot be changed. You can change the form of your existence, the expression of your existence, the experience of your existence, but the fact that you exist is fundamental. You cannot change that. You are an indestructible, eternal being. That will never change. So feel that indestructibility in your core. And next.
The past and the future are illusions. There is only now.
Now is all there is. When someone asks you for the time, you don't say it is then. You don't say it is when. You don't say it is will be. You say it is now. For that is all that exists. And everything that exists, exists now. You have created the illusion of time to help you experience process in a certain way, and that is all well and good and is very creative. But the idea is that the so-called past and the so-called future are simply alternate nows existing simultaneously with whatever now you believe you are experiencing at this moment. When you shift, you are not shifting into the future, you are not shifting from the past, you are shifting into an alternate now, because that's the way you experience things from a linear perspective. But everything exists all at once. They are all here, they are all now, they are all within your consciousness. You are here and now. And next.
Everything happens in perfect timing. I will miss nothing.
Everything that needs to happen in your life, if you focus on what you need, will come to you exactly when you need it. It is not possible for you to miss any agreements, any appointments that you have made that are relevant for you to experience in your life, with one exception. Focusing and worrying that you will miss the appointment, worrying that you will miss the agreement, will allow you to miss it. But if you do not worry that you will miss something important, something relevant for you, you will not miss a thing. Nothing will be left out, for this is the nature and the definition of acting on your passion. It contains everything that's relevant for you, specifically for you in your life. That's why it's your passion, designed to harmonize with your frequency, and it automatically contains everything you need, and it will unfold, if you allow it to, in perfect timing. Nothing will be left out that is important for you to experience in your life. If it's not there, you don't need it. Let it go. Next.
My life is my own. No one can live it for me.
We understand on your planet many times you will be quite bombarded by people telling you what you should and should not do, who you should and should not be. And it doesn't mean that you cannot take advice, and it doesn't mean that you cannot follow guidance, for sometimes guidance is wisely given. But when it comes right down to it, you are the only one that can decide what is really true for you. If you explore yourself with honesty and clarity, you will know the difference between what really is your excitement and what really is your fear-based anxiety. You will know what direction is really true for you. And by choosing the thing that is really you, that is actually the best way to honor everyone else, including your parents, even if they don't necessarily believe that your choices are of great benefit to you. If you have explored and done your due diligence within yourself to know as best as you can at any given moment who you truly know yourself to be, which doesn't mean you won't change, which doesn't mean you won't know more later, which doesn't mean you won't get better. Of course you will. But at every given moment, you are a perfect representation of who you are at this moment. And in the next moment, even though you may change and learn more and do things differently, you will then simply be a different perfect, not more perfect, a different perfect. So no one can really live your life. No one can really know what's best for you. Again, advice can be taken, can be listened to. You can assess it as to whether it's true for you or not, but ultimately you have to decide who you are, who you prefer to be, and what the path of least resistance is for you. No one can tell you that. You have to tell it to yourself. And next.
I am unconditionally supported by creation.
Unconditionally. If you need to, look the word up. It means with no condition. Unconditionally loved. Unconditionally supported. So unconditionally loved, so unconditionally supported that you are even allowed to believe you are not loved and not supported. That's how supported and loved you are. You're allowed to believe anything, even the things that are not really so. That is proof that you are unconditionally supported, because if you weren't, there would be conditions and you wouldn't be able to believe those things. You would be forced to believe something. But you are free to choose anything that you wish to believe. That's how supported you are. And next.
I am an expression of nature.
You do not live in nature. You do not live with nature. You are nature. You are an extension of that which is natural. There really isn't anything that is supernatural or paranormal or metaphysical. It's all natural. It's all normal. It all has representation in your physical reality in some way, shape, or form. We understand there are higher energies that are non-physical that you can tap into, but that doesn't make them supernatural. It simply makes them another form of nature. You are an expression of nature in all the things you do. Do not segregate or separate yourself out from the idea of being part of the natural world, the natural universe. You are an expression of nature. And knowing that and acting like you know it is what will also help you make all the connections to other expressions of nature that are important for you to experience your reality in a holistic way, rather than a jumbled collection of parts that seem disconnected one from the other. The more you connect to the true nature of your being, the easier it will be for you to connect to all other expressions of nature as well, and see yourselves as an expression of a holistic system. And next.
I always have exactly what I need.
Everything that comes to you, even if it's something in the moment that you neutrally and objectively recognize you don't prefer, must be there for a reason. If you stay in a positive state with it and know that at that moment, no matter how it looks, it's what you need to move on to the next best place, then you will relate to it in a positive way and be capable of extracting a positive effect from it, no matter how it looks, no matter how it originated, no matter what anyone else's opinion about it is, no matter what anyone else's experience about it may be. If you remain in a positive state, you will extract a positive effect from it. Whatever happens is the most important thing going on right now in this moment in your life. Whatever it is, no matter how it looks, stay in a positive state. You'll be able to use it in a positive way. You have everything you need. The manifestation will happen in perfect timing, but everything you need is right here, right now. Nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. Some of it may seem invisible to you, but that's just because it's not the time for that to manifest solidly. It's not the time for that necessarily to come into your awareness, because there may be a process you need to go through so that when it does manifest, you will have a deeper appreciation of exactly how to use it. But everything you need is right here, right now, already. You are missing nothing. And next.
I give and receive joy, love, and compassion.
Simply put, why not? Because that's what you are. You are joy. You are love. You are given unconditional support, love, and compassion. Why not reflect it? Because that is what will allow you to feel the connection to creation, to all that is, because that's the frequency of existence itself. So why not harmonize with that and know that you are giving it as well as receiving it, and that being of service by giving it is the best way for you to open up as fully as you can to receive it and experience it for yourself, because it's always being given to you. You never have to ask, really. Not really. Because the idea is asking is not really asking for something you don't have. You can ask, but understand that asking is simply asking to be more aware of what you're already being given. Big difference. Big difference. Because you have everything you need. You just have to pay attention to that fact, and you will experience that it is so. And next.
My life is a synchronous orchestration.
Absolutely. Every moment is orchestrated through synchronicity. Nothing happens by accident. Who you may wind up next to in the so-called traffic jam on your freeway is not an accident. It may not necessarily always have a lot to do with you consciously, but you are there for a reason, perhaps to serve what someone else might be going through. It's all an orchestration. You are that powerful. You may not know it, but you are that harmonized. You are that powerful. So powerful you are unconscious of it. You create it to be automatic in the background, so you don't have to overthink it. Just start knowing that no matter where you are, no matter where you wind up, no matter with whom, no matter what's going on, it's happening for a reason, and that reason is because you are part of an orchestration that may have a lot to do with you, a little to do with you, but always has something to do with your participation being needed in that orchestration in order for it to happen in the way it needs to happen for all the participants at that particular moment. If you could only see, really allow yourselves to feel the beautiful orchestration, the powerful orchestration that you all are, you would walk through your day absolutely gobsmacked with your jaws slack and hanging open. Wow. Look at the synchronism in that. And the more you focus on the idea that everything is synchronism, the more synchronism you will experience, the more you will actually be able to experience the orchestration. And pretty soon it will be like walking through a magical dream. Everything falling into place. You will see reality for what it is, a projection of your consciousness, a play on a stage, a beautiful, fantastic, complex play. It's amazing.
Yes.
In context that you're discussing in your talk, I wonder if it fits in with our general society worldwide. If it's going to be a severe occurrence.
In some areas, it will be severe. In others, it will not be felt at all. It will depend upon the infrastructure that has been laid down in certain areas on your planet, since there is much diversity on your world and many different approaches to different things. Then different areas will likewise experience the result and consequences in different ways. The basic thing to understand, however, is that when individuals begin to lay down other systems, alternate systems, new ideas, and put them into place, then it will not really matter if the old systems crumble or collapse. For new ones will be there, ready and willing to take their place and take up what you call the slack. Now, at the same time, sometimes what you would call a, well, break from the old paradigm may be a welcome thing and give individuals a chance to rethink how they go about setting up certain systems to allow them in the future to become far more flexible, less rigid, which is a metaphor for how you need to really live your lives as well. So I would simply overall suggest that you don't really worry about it, for I will tell you this with absolute certainty. The more you worry about it being a problem, the more you magnetically will draw yourself into a circumstance where you will experience it as a problem. Instead, I would suggest that you allow yourself to treat it as an amazing opportunity to allow systems to shift and change very rapidly, and that you position yourself by your energy and your own certainty so that you will know that you will be where you need to be, when you need to be there, and that you will experience, no matter what anyone else has experienced, so that you personally will experience only a beneficial result from such a consequence instead of a negative one. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me.
And your second question?
A personal question.
Yes.
When I wake up from a deep sleep, it's happened to me many times in my 42 years.
That you have woken up? Yes, I would think so.
This occurrence has happened many
Oh, I see. All right.
What we have is a little tiny light in our night light thing. And when I wake up and I'm looking at this light, if I'm facing that direction,
Yes.
I will actually see a scene as I'm waking up.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the room. I will visually see a different scene.
Yes.
And slowly, the bedroom over a minute or two will come back into focus.
Yes.
It's happened many times. I was just wondering.
This can be many things. It can be, number one, that in your dream reality, you have a very strong imposition of an experience that you are having in the dream realm, and that when you transition back into physical reality, there is still the overlay of the dream template, and you are seeing that illuminated as it fades into the blending back into of your physical reality. Number two, you can allow yourself to understand that sometimes, and this is almost the same thing, certain states, especially upon just going to sleep and just waking up, will allow there to be a moment or two in your terms of time where you actually are, for that moment, far more connected to multidimensional reality than you normally might be. And you may really be peering through the veils or the barriers of one dimension to another and able to see other things, other times, other places, so to speak, other experiences, alternate universes, parallel realities, for the moment, until you reestablish a connection and a rapport with the physical reality time stream that you consider to be your normal daily one. The idea here is to understand, of course, that all times and all dimensions, all are one. All are here, and in a sense, all are now. And sometimes in the proper state of mind, in the proper state of being, you can pierce the so-called veils that have been created by your consciousness that separates these things into different reality streams. Sometimes it can also simply be impressions that are retained, number three, by your memory centers, that it may impose themselves upon your cellular structure, your brain cells, and that the activation of the light in this context, in a dark room or a dimly lit room, may allow there to be like catalog retrieval of images that are stored in your memory to be brought back momentarily until again you impose the outer reality upon them. It can be any of these three or any number of other ideas. The basic idea, however, is this. Whatever the actual origination of this experience is, you can learn to exercise, to stretch your imagination and wrap your imagination around it in terms of what kind of a state does it put you in and what do you want to do with it and how does it expand you creatively in order to understand all the different ways and means in which this might be being created. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Does this help you?
How can I exploit this if I choose to exploit it?
Well, as I have just said, it takes an exercise of imagination. It can be that you can just sort of stay with it for a moment, recall the image that you saw, because when you use your memory, you are recreating it in the present. You're not really recalling it from the past. You are recreating it in the moment. in the present. And so if you wish to, you can recall the image as best as you can, explore it with your mind, with your imagination, see what it has to offer you. Sometimes it may be representative of a very literal scenario, but sometimes it may only be representative of what you would call a symbolic or metaphorical scenario. But nevertheless, no matter which one it is, it will still have meaning that you have imbued into it and that you can extract from it, because they are symbols relevant to your mind, your consciousness. And so by playing around in it and exploring it in whatever way you wish to, as if you are, shall we say, perusing what you might call a video archive or a library or an image source or your internet, if you simply peruse through it, certain images will stand out here and there and draw your attention to them, and as they do, you will then feel in some senses or experience in some way the downloading of information. You will know what it means to you the longer that you stay with it, and you will absorb information that you can use in your day-to-day reality that you have given yourself from another level of consciousness. Does that make sense to you?
Very much.
Then have a good time and pleasant dreams.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I would just like to hear
Speak up and be bold.
I would just like to hear your perspective on three different areas.
3 different areas. All right. Yes.
The first one is what might be coming forth this summer in England, primarily, where all the beautiful crop formations are being shown on many levels.
Yes.
If you just might comment on what might be coming forth this summer that's different from the past 10, 12 years.
So, right now, first of all, of course, you understand that in that particular area of your planet, these formations have already begun. You understand?
Oh, yes.
All right. And, of course, there are more and more of these formations around your planet now every year. Not just in that area you call England. You understand?
Yeah.
All right. In general, first of all, to lay a foundation, the thing to understand is this about what you call crop circles. They are a composite creation of collective consciousness from a variety of different levels and dimensions, including your own. And they are like unto dream communications from your higher consciousness to your physical consciousnesses. It is like symbols of a dream language. It is that your collective consciousness, that oversoul being, that is all of you put together, is starting to talk to you in symbols, a language of dreams, a language of creation. You are speaking to yourselves and using these symbols to wake yourselves up on an individual basis. As more and more individuals become attracted to these formations, you will find yourself resonating with higher frequencies that are representative of your own higher consciousness and other dimensional consciousnesses to which you are connected. Other beings, spirits, guides, angelic realms, sometimes even extraterrestrials, are involved in helping co-create the images through energy manipulation. But what all of us are using to do that is the medium, or if you will, the canvas of your collective consciousness, and thus then the natural growing living things as the natural biological energy canvas in which these things can be imprinted. Now, in this, what you call your present upcoming summertime, you will find that there may be some directions that will have to do with creation of what you would call more grids. There may also be an inclusion of sevenfold geometry, and there may be that which you would recognize as more fractal expressions that will be geometric activation symbols. Because now is the time for acceleration and activity and application. So you will see some more of this. There will also be, potentially, as we scan the energy now, in maybe 1, 2, or 3 of the formations, an unusual dot-like pattern that will be indicative of things that may be coming up in the next several years on your planet as the transition of your consciousness continues. Does this help you?
Yes. Can you illuminate?
No. Number 2.
All right. Thank you. The second question is,
Yes.
In the upcoming Earth changes that are seem to be accelerating now,
Yes.
how do you see the Toronto area in general as an energy matrix and as a place where it is one of the, if not the most multicultural city on Earth? How this part of the world might contribute in the larger scheme of things in terms of a lot of the Earth changes?
What I will say about that is to understand, as you have already recognized, that because it is a collection point for many different perspectives and points of view, then there is a vast amount of available energy to allow there to be a very holistic expansion of energy around the planet, in that there is the ability to coexist smoothly, bring together a bunch of different perspectives smoothly, and allow them to coexist and interblend and interact and create more than the sum of their parts. That in and of itself is a symbol of the overall energy that your area of the planet is radiating to the rest of the planet. Kind of, in a sense, like a metronomic measurement device for how differences and diversity can be smoothly blended together without losing the diversity within the union. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Now, of course, what this will rely upon, as with anything, is your willingness, once you have keyed into this with your imagination, to do something, to express something actively, so that you can, by example, show what that energy is all about. And all this means is following your excitement, being who you know yourself to be, doing the things that you love to do, and by example, radiating that energy into your world. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And remember, all these so-called Earth changes are really just reflective of the changes going on already in your collective consciousness, and the physical changes will only need to be whatever state of being your collective consciousness believes it needs to experience in order to go through a transition. The more willing you are to change and become who you truly are, the less likely it will need to be that any physical Earth changes will have to jolt you awake. Do you understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3 is,
Yes.
is there a way for the layman to understand, there's been...
The layman.
Well, the human.
Oh, all right, the human. Yes.
There's been a lot from the scientific area about these subatomic particles called neutrinos.
Yes.
And these beautiful little elements that are pouring into our planet and through us, if there's a way that you could help us understand how we might receive and better understand what these particles are actually
All right.
contributing.
Thank you. They are one level that is closer to understanding how every particle in your physical universe is the same particle. Let us explain. From our perspective, we have a view that we have, in your language, labeled the prime radiant, that goes something like this. Now, we understand that when we use the term particle, we know that that is a euphemism. Even your own scientists understand that when they describe particles, subatomic particles, they're not necessarily really talking about little grains of solid substance, but they're talking about light, energy, and they're talking about relationships, and so forth. But we will use the term particle for convenience in this illustration, all right? And so, the neutrino is much closer than a lot of other subatomic particles to the following principle, as well as is the idea of quarks. Also, very close to the following principle, to which your scientists are also getting very close, and that is this. Imagine, if you will, and all of you can do this, vast, vast emptiness. Black, empty, void. Nothing in it. Again, just for the purposes of illustration. Now imagine, if you will, one single little particle in the midst of all that vastness, infinite vastness. There is only this one little particle floating in it. So picture that. Now, Imagine, as many of your scientists use this terminology, that this particle is, for all intents and purposes, massless. In other words, it is not affected by any force. It can go anywhere, do anything it wants. It's not affected by inertia, not by gravity. There is no gravity, there is no inertia, there's nothing but this particle, so it is affected by nothing. Therefore, it can really travel at infinite speed. It is massless, so it's not violating any laws of physics by going as fast as it wants to go. It can travel at infinite speed. Infinite speed. Now then picture that if this particle is truly traveling at infinite speed, that means it can be anywhere and everywhere within the infinite void at the same time. So what might appear to be billions and billions and billions of particles is actually only one particle zipping around so fast that it appears next to itself over and over and over and over and over and over again, making it appear as if there's more than one particle. That's the way it is. So, if you understand that there is really only one prime radiant particle, and it is simply following what might be considered to be a geometric path through this infinite void, for lack of a better term, for this illustrative purpose, then you can understand that all of the particles, all of the atoms that make up your body, all of the atoms that make up the Earth, all of the atoms that make up the stars, all of the atoms that make up every galaxy within the entirety of your physical universe are all made from the same one particle. Not the same type of particle, the same literal one particle. In the ultimate time-sharing program. Doing infinite double duty as everything there is to be. So understand the implications here. If it is all the same one particle, if the one particle that makes up what appears to be all the atoms of your body is the same particle that makes up the most distant galaxy you can perceive or imagine, then any time you make any kind of a change at all, you affect everything in creation. You alter the path of the particle by going from here to here with your little finger. You are actually impacting the farthest galaxy because you're changing the path of the same particle that makes up everything. That's how powerful you are. Does that give you a clue how to use the idea of neutrinos?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Of course, I understand that what you are doing is applauding for the universe, for its beautiful, simplistic design. It is infinitely complex, but it is not complicated. It is absolutely, perfectly simple, because there is only here and there is only now, and therefore there can only be one thing that occupies that here and now, so that one thing has to be everything there is to be. Simple as that.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. First of all, let us take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this communication to occur in this manner at this time. Each and every time you allow our civilization to make this transmissional link, this bridge, in this format, through this window, it affords our civilization an opportunity to experience, through each and every one of you, another facet, another aspect of the infinite, and this expands our understanding of all the different ways that the infinite can express itself. And so we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following idea. We have now, for a little while of your time, been talking about what we consider to be a very important topic, a very critical topic, in understanding how to allow your lives to be transformed in the manner that you would desire. Notice that we utilize your word allow rather than use the word make. Allowing is the key. And this is why. What we will now talk about will be the issue that many of you have begun to understand, that is called the issue of surrender. And when we utilize that term, we do not mean surrender in the negative sense, in that you are creating a sacrifice within yourself, or in a sense giving up something which you truly need. We are talking about the concept of surrender as the true acceptance of your total being, of your total self, and the letting go of those aspects of your personality that only limit you, that in a sense are imposed upon you from childhood, that may not really be representative of who you are at heart, who you are in the core of your being. That is the type of surrender we are talking about. The allowance is to allow yourself to believe, to know with certainty that if you will be willing to let go of old ideas, old patterns, old beliefs, old definitions, and accept the being you were created to be in the image of the infinite, then you will be able to see, by surrendering those aspects of your personality that don't serve you, you will be able to see your life begin to reflect back to you those aspects of your being that are truly you. For physical reality, as you call it, is really nothing but a mirror. And I mean this quite literally. Quite literally. You have on your planet a device called a glass mirror. And when you look into a mirror, you will see the reflection of your face. Now, if your reflection is wearing a frown, you do not reach out and force the reflection to smile, but you yourself choose to smile instead. Physical reality is exactly like this. If you see things in your life and they are not necessarily reflective of what you prefer, of what you know to be representative of your true self in your heart of hearts, your natural core true being, the idea is not to attempt to manipulate the outside reality reflection in order to bring things back into alignment, but that you must change yourself, within yourself, first, so that your physical reality, being the mirror that it is, can reflect that change back to you. So just as you know, you cannot manipulate the reflection in a glass mirror in order to see the face smile, but instead must smile first, so too you can be absolutely assured that you know that if you do smile, you will see the smile reflected by the mirror, for the mirror has no choice but to follow suit. And therefore you can be assured that if you change inside, if you change yourself, your physical reality has no choice but to reflect that back to you. It must follow suit, for it does not have a mind of its own. But we know that when you are brought up with ideas that can make you doubt yourselves, then you can play all sorts of complicated games in your mind about whether or not your reality is going to reflect the truth. You can not be certain that it will reflect back to you who you are. You can pretend that it has the ability to do something contrary to what it is that you give off. But it can't. It really cannot. This is simple physics. We want you to understand that many of the things that we will be discussing this day of your time, the many principles that we will be sharing and discussing that have to do with your ability to change your lives in the way you prefer, will not just be left to the realm of philosophy. Oh, that sounds like a nice idea, but how does it work? Oh, that's all well and good to say that thing, all lovey-dovey, as you say, but what practical use is it? We will not leave it in that realm, but will allow you to understand that the tools, the concepts that we are sharing with you are truly concepts of physics, action, reaction. You will be able to see, by applying these principles, effects in your lives, physically, because we're not just talking about philosophical concepts. We are talking about physics. We are talking about the way reality is created. We are talking about the way life actually works in your physical dimension. So we know that this comprises a type of tool kit, and if you will keep the tools sharp and will apply them steadfastly, then you will see that they will do their job. And all you have to do is do the job of being yourself in order to use them properly. Now, what does this entail? Well, first and foremost, a very important principle. Doing the job of being yourself, first and foremost, means this, that you must treat yourself with love and respect, that you must value yourself. We can tell from interaction and observation that many of you have been taught to devalue yourselves, to think yourselves unworthy, undeserving, to think of yourselves as less than you were created to be. And as long as you choose to continue to devalue yourselves and doubt your own self-empowerment, then these tools will not be as effective as they could be. For if you are not functioning holistically, you cannot expect the tools to do their job fully. So the first principle is to understand that unconditional love must be given from yourself to yourself first. For if you do not love yourself, you will not be able to love anyone else. And we understand that you have what you call on your planet a golden rule that you usually quote as, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. However, a more precise understanding of this golden rule would really be, psychologically speaking, you will do to others what you are willing to do to yourself. So when you devalue yourself, when you do not think you are worthy, certainly you will not attach any value to anything or anyone. And therefore you will treat your world, other people, and yourselves with great disrespect. And that will amount and result in many of the difficulties and problems you see on your planet today. It is as simple as that. You do not love yourselves, so you do not love others, and so therefore you do not love your world, and therefore you see all the difficulties. But when you understand that it begins with you, and we do not mean this in a negatively selfish way, but when it begins with self-love, then you will know you are all right, you will know you are self-empowered, you will know you are connected to the infinite, you will know that a source of infinite power can always be expressed through you, you will know that life does not happen to you but happens through you, you will be a conscious, creative being in the way you were created to be, a co-creator with creation, and you will then be full of compassion, creativity, life, love, self-expression, and you will know how to be a shining example with others, to others, for others, with others, and for yourself, so that your lives can be a reflection of what you say you prefer it to be. Now, it's time to go on your planet beyond what you call lip service. It's time to put into action these principles. And so this is why it is important to understand that we are not just talking about nice ideas that you can just keep talking about and thinking about and run around in your heads and say, oh yes, that sounds nice. We're talking about principles you can put into action, that you can apply and get a result from, so that you can see and experience that result, and in experiencing that result, you can then know that these tools work. You can then know that you are a self-actualized being made in the image of the infinite. You can have that experience, and in knowing that, you will then radiate that frequency, and in radiating that frequency, then the reflection from physical reality mirror will be an equal reflection back to you. It is as simple as that. And so, we once again thank you for allowing us to share this point of view with you this day of your time. And once again, in return for the great gift that you are giving our world in allowing us to link with you, we ask in return now, in what way may we and I be of service to you? You may begin with sharing in any manner you so desire.